Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. I recently did a short video about Queen Mary. It was on the Royal Shorts, as I call it, and it told how she wanted to get her way one way or the other. But that wasn't a long enough video for me to do what I wanted to do, so I decided to make a lengthier video in this section. If you want to check out the short, I'll provide it in the description of the video. But let's take a look at Queen Mary and how she knew what she liked. So Queen Mary said she got her love of collection from her father, but he was poor. Queen Mary also said, "I'm very busy now and see that our various inventories are correct and that everything is entered as far as possible with its history," she wrote to her Aunt Augusta in 1909. "It is really rather wonderful what we have managed to collect and get together since we married. Quite a credible collection of family things without spending much money over it. I confess I feel rather proud of our endeavors. I hope you won't laugh at us." In the article, honey9.com, the Queen had a bad reputation. It seemed she visited the royal aristocrats, and she would end up having items leave with her. According to the historian Carolyn Harris, there are stories about Queen Mary visiting homes of the British well-to-do, admiring family treasures, and letting the host know that she would be pleased to receive them as a gift. She was also said to occasionally offer to purchase the merchandise whenever she had her eye on something, so perhaps there's some truth to the stories. And this kind of behavior had people talking, of course, and so the aristocrats told their friends, and then people started to hide their valuables to be on the safe side whenever she came to visit. The kleptomania rumors, it said that the Queen would invite herself to the home of an aristocrat to dine, and once she was in the drawing room, she started looking around. So it gets a bit embarrassing next because once she spotted what she wanted, it could be a Cartier snuff box or a portrait of her ancestor, she would let the host know that she would like to receive the item as a gift. The host was put in an awkward position. She did occasionally offer to buy the item, but at a lower cost than what was paid for by the owner. I guess the stories of what was happening reached the king, according to honey9.com. As the legend goes, the king eventually asked one of Mary's ladies-in-waiting to accompany her to check that she didn't keep taking things that didn't belong to her. So it is said that what Queen Mary suffered from wasn't exactly kleptomania because she had specific items she liked to collect. Mary was known for her love of miniatures and figurines, and she also liked jewels, antiques, and she was keen to add them to her impressive collection. And she felt it was her duty. Once the Queen got into the royal family, she felt it was up to her to add to the royal collection. According to the crownchronicles.co.uk, she would at times overpay to acquire an item, especially if it was connected to the royal family. There are, of course, the stories that I told where the Queen admired objects during visits to the friends or at parties, making it clear that she would be pleased to receive it as a gift or purchase it at a nominal sum. Other stories suggest that Queen Mary would mention she had part of the same set that she would like to complete, or that these items were lonely without their kin. And then her collections also included Faberge eggs. The Crown Chronicle stated Carl Faberge, the jeweler, made 50 Easter eggs for the Tsar Nicholas II. He was one of Russia's last tsars, and he got them to give to his wife. And 3 of them now form part of the royal collection thanks to Queen Mary, who acquired them in 1933. The mosaic egg, one of the 3, is a stunning artifact made with diamonds, rubies, topaz, sapphires, garnets, pearls, and emeralds, and contains a surprise medallion inside, painted with the portraits of the 5 children of Nicholas and Alexandra. Other Faberge items include a wide variety of Faberge animals made of jade and quartz. And then Queen Mary's dollhouse. The dollhouse was created as a gift to her from the British people to serve as an historical document on how the royal family might have lived in 1921. The idea for the dollhouse came from her cousin, Princess Marie Louise. She got it commissioned by Sir Edwin Lutyens at the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition of 1921. Lutyens was one of the leading architects of the time and agreed he would create the miniature masterpiece. Princess Marie Louise also found the most prominent artists and craftsmen of the time to contribute their particular skill sets to the dollhouse. So the dollhouse was later put on display to raise funds for the Queen's charities. Almost 2 million people visited the British Empire exhibition to view it. Now it can be seen when visiting Windsor Castle. So it sounds like it's a fantastic dollhouse, and it has electricity, running water, and miniature books. Queen Mary is responsible for the large jewelry collection of the royals. Queen Mary did buy a lot of the jewelry, and some were gifts, and she commissioned a large collection of tiaras. And Queen Elizabeth II maintained her connection with her grandmother by wearing her extensive collection of brooches, tiaras, and necklaces. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was a friend to a lady named Margaret Greville, and she married Ronald Greville, an aristocrat, and so she began her jewelry collection. According to the Town and Country Magazine.com, much like Queen Mary, Greville had an impeccable eye and a voracious appetite for jewelry. She loved Vacheron and Cartier and picked up gems from her travels around the world. And while Mary loved buying up Russian imperial jewels, Greville might have preferred the French. She supposedly had in her trove a necklace once owned by Marie Antoinette and another that belonged to the Empress Josephine, Napoleon's first wife. Given that the Grevilles never had children of their own, the entirety of her collection, well, the real ones only, of course, anything under 100 pounds was given to the maid, and she left it to her friend, the Queen Mother Elizabeth. And a note inside the box said, with loving thoughts, or with my loving thoughts, when Greville died in 1942. So Queen Mary also repurposed jewels, according to finance.yahoo.com. She had an eye for gemstones and a vision for how to wear them creatively. She commissioned transformable jewels that could be worn in multiple ways, such as tiaras that became necklaces, and versatile designs that were set with interchangeable stones that are still worn by the Windsor women today. And during her husband's reign, she was given the famous 158-carat Cullen III, along with the 94.4-carat pear-shaped Cullen III and a 63.6 cushion-shaped Cullen IV. The latter two stones were made into a clip which Mary bequeathed to her granddaughter, Elizabeth II, who fondly referred to them as Granny's chips. The jewels the Queen Mary diamond fringe tiara, the original diamond fringe tiara necklace, was a wedding gift to Mary from Queen Victoria, but it wasn't a favorite. So Queen Mary had it redesigned into a more contemporary piece so it could be converted from a tiara into a necklace. So timeless that the tiara was worn by both Queen Elizabeth and her daughter Princess Anne for their weddings, and most recently by Princess Beatrice when she got married in 2020. So after buying the Vladimir tiara from the Grand Duchess Vladimir's estate in 1921, Queen Mary added an element of versatility by making the large pearls interchangeable so that they could be replaced with other stones or removed entirely to create a more discreet style. So it sounds like she really knew how to design and redesign jewelry to make it more attractive or more practical. Next we have Frogmore House. Frogmore House was named that because of the large number of frogs in the area, and it was bought by Henry VIII in the 16th century. Hugh May, Charles II's architect at Windsor, built the house for his nephew Thomas May and his wife Anne Aldworth, and since its completion in 1684, it's been occupied by a succession of crown tenants. So the Queen liked collecting all things that pertain to the royal memorabilia and regalia, and most of this can be seen at Frogmore House, forming part of the Windsor estate. Queen Mary's taste and style of decoration are represented in her flower room with her assemblage of wax and silk flowers, and her black museum filled with her collection of black papier-mâché furniture. So she did these collections from 1925 to 1953. Mary collected and arranged souvenirs and knickknacks that had belonged to the royal family in the house, describing it as a family souvenir museum, as well as a museum of bygones and of interesting odds and ends. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was very fond of Frogmore House, having spent part of her honeymoon there in 1923. She loved to picnic at Frogmore, and this is a tradition continued by the royal family today. So Frogmore House is no longer occupied by the royal family, but is often used for entertaining. Queen Mary had a love of collecting, and she had an eye for all things royal and for fine jewelry. It has been saved in the royal collection, and her jewels have been passed down to the royal family, who proudly wear it when the occasion arises. In her way, she kept the royal family history alive with all her remarkable collections. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated. This helps show if I'm going in the right direction with my videos. And I hope everybody's been having a good day. Tune in again soon for another episode of Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.